The mind will have you believing that you are it, like you are the mind, but don't let that fool you, because you are not the mind, okay? That's the problem. That's what gets us stuck in the vicious cycle of believing that you are the mind just by over-analyzing and having a preference of it all. Having a preference of it. But the moment you realize that it's really just nothing and just keep going, you'll feel this total freedom of it all. And I know it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do that. I think about 3 or 4 years ago, came across this technique, right, on how to get out of the mind. And it's called chanting. I would chant mantras. And you can't chant and be in the mind at the same time, right? So try it. You can't. And the moment you do that, it literally gets you out of the mind. And I just would stay consistent with it. And there were times that I would fall off. I'd forget. But once I realized that, oh my gosh, I'm right back in the mind again, I would say my mantra. And throughout the day, I would notice that, oh my gosh, I'm not even thinking about what I was just thinking about. That was so disturbing. But sometimes you won't even notice it because you're not in the mind anymore. So it's a catch-22 with that, But either way, you're out of the mind, right? And that's what's golden. So I know this because just yesterday or the day before yesterday, I found myself once again over analyzing my thoughts. And the moment I realized what I was doing, I immediately turned to the heart and chanted my mantras. And now it's like I feel this refreshing energy come over me, and there's no chitter chatter of the mind. Look, the mind is always going to do its thing. It's always going to do its thing, right? It's going to. But the moment you realize that you are not the mind and you just turn to the heart and you do what you have to do. Everybody has their own tool that they use. For me, it's mantras. Others will meditate. Some will just go out into nature. It depends on the person, but for me, it's always been mantras. And you don't feel it right away. When you're chanting, you don't feel it right away. And a lot of people become so very impatient. They become very impatient and they start looking for it. Like, oh my gosh, I don't see it working. Why isn't it working? Well, you're looking for it. You're seeking it, and you're right back in the mind again. You just say it. You just chant it. You just chant it without having to look to see if it's shifted. Just chant until you can't chant no more. I usually do it 3 times. I'll say it 3 times. The mantra that I use, that I choose to say, I say it 3 times. And then if I still kind of notice that I'm in the mind a little bit, I'll do it another 3 times. But usually it works 3 times. After 3 times, I'm out of the mind. And half the time I don't even notice that I am. I just go on to the next thing. It's like cat squirrel. But you have to be very patient. You can't be just like, oh my God, this is not working, or this is just corny. It's not going to work. You're right in the mind again. Doing all that, you're right back in the mind. You know, and the thing is you're trying to get out of the mind. You're trying to get out of the mind. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I had such a bad couple of days. And I was really in the mind. And the moment I realized what I was doing, and when I turned towards self and was saying my mantras, I was like, gosh, why didn't I think of this? Like, why didn't I do it sooner? Because sometimes you can get so stuck in it because you're so used to being in it, in the mind, that you dwell in it. And I literally found myself doing that. And once I said my mantras, oh my gosh, it was like something lifted. You know, and yeah, it lifted, but you have to like realize when it's happening. And I usually do. I'm usually good about realizing when I'm really in it, when I'm really in the mind. But for some reason, these last couple of days, I just I didn't realize it. I just didn't. And the person was there, because that's what I call it, the person, you know. I took it very personal. I took the mind very personal, which I call the person. The person was there. And once you get out of the mind, that person, that personal bullshit is no longer there. The mind's doing its thing, but when you chant, when you do whatever it is whatever tool that you like to use to get you out of that, it just fades out in the background. That's all it does. It just does its little thing in the background. And it's no longer a thing. It's just doing its blah, 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 you know. And it's like it's not even there. So, yeah, so that's the tool that I use, is mantras. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's a lot of people out there that really, really believe their thoughts. They believe who they are. They believe that's who they are. And it's not. It's not who you are. And once you realize that, it's golden. It's freedom. It's liberation. And, you know, I help a lot of people with mantras. I help them. I show them how to use them and when to use them. I just feel it's really important to bring this up. Because I have a lot of people that I talk to that do have such a hard time with the mind. And I have my own clients that I deal with. And the moment they used the tools that they needed to use to get them out of the mind, it was no longer a problem. And I don't even hear from them anymore, half of them, because they found their niche when it comes to getting out the mind. And for me, it's mantras, and I do help a lot of people, you know, use them. You know, I show them how and when to use them, and it's just amazing how it really truly works. Try it. See if it works, you know. But yeah, that's it for now. Bye.